Coming up, a very special Super Rugby Pacific squad announcement show.
Yeah, he looks talented as, and he's actually probably a better looking version than to Jimmy Lynch's, so...
We hear directly from each of our New Zealand franchises and get the rub of the green from some of our biggest names.
Roger! I've already been stepped by him heaps of times, you know, social distancing.
Joey, Jeff, Izzy and Taylor will give their unique takes on the sides.
Crusaders to win the title, and they're going to be facing the Blues.
And what are Moana Pacifica's chances of shaking things up in their first season in the new comp?
We're going to make you proud. Woo!
This is the all-new Sky Rugby Club.
Kia ora and welcome into the Sky Rugby Club. As you see, there's plenty to unpack as we announce the Super Rugby Pacific 2022 squads. Now, joining me today is Israel Dagg, Joey Wheeler and Sky Sport commentator Jeff McTaich. I'm sure you're all really pleased to get straight into it.
Push back on, Jeff.
Well, we've got 6 teams to dive into with the new edition of Moana Pacifica. But first, let's show you a preview of how the new Super Rugby competition layout is going ahead.
2022 Super Rugby Pacific is set to make history, with Fijian Roa and Moana Pacifica joining the 12-team tournament. Over the season, each team has a total of 14 games. It's the classic old-school round-robin format, but with extra emphasis on derby matches. Teams will play 8 teams once and 3 teams twice. The top 8 teams on the points table will qualify for a familiar 3-week playoff format, consisting of quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then of course a blockbuster grand final, giving you 18 weeks of action, impact and mana.
Well, Joey and Izzy and Jeff, they must have heard you because they're doing that top 8 format with the classic round robin. What are your thoughts there, Joey?
Double thumbs up from me, Taylor. Finally, we're back. Looking forward to it. It'll be awesome. Round one's what I'm looking forward to the most. Moana Pacifica versus the Brumbies, actually. Christian Leofano heading back home.
What about you, Izzy?
Yeah, no, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer that we just go back to some normality. We get rid of the, looking after either sides of the draw. We get the best teams that are playing playoffs footy. That's what we want. And I'm the same as Joey. I just can't wait for this to get started. I'm really excited to see Moana Pacifica really rip into this. I think they're going to surprise a lot of teams within this new competition. And I just can't wait for round one. Let's bring it on. What about you, Jeffy?
I can't wait, mate. I agree with you. I think it's a nice addition having Moana Pacifica in there with the Fijian draw, and obviously we've been playing ourselves for a wee while, haven't we, with COVID? So it'd be nice to be back with the Aussies, have the Moana Pacifica team in there and the Fijians, and get stuck in. And what better way to start than Mount Smart Stadium, round one, Moana Pacifica against the Brumbies? It'll be an absolute cracker.
Well, plenty to look forward to. So let's get stuck into it, starting with the Crusaders. Let's hear from the head coach, Razor Robinson.
Hey guys, Razor from the Crusaders here. I'm really proud to announce the 2022 squad. A really strong squad, 5 players from our academy and 4 guys from the outside. We've got Triple T, Titaroa, Tahuri Orangi, Kinina Holo, power athlete. We've got Simon Hickey, beautiful experience as a number 10. And also got Pablo Monteria, the beast from Argentina. It's going to be an exciting year. Here we go.
Well, as Razor mentioned, there's plenty of new additions to the squad. As you can see, we've got who's in and who's out, as well as the full squad running along the baseline of your screen. But Izzy, we know you're familiar with this side, but when looking at this, what new additions stand out to you straight away?
Te Toiroa Tahuri Orangi. I think Triple T is going to be a huge addition to this outfit. They've already got Bryn Hall, Mitch Drummond, 2 experienced players, but I think he brings a different style to how he plays. He really attests those first and second defenders. If he gets really fit, he will be an outstanding addition to help. Because the thing with this competition, the new competition, gone are the days of just rolling out the same squad. You got to go deep into your squad. A lot of these players that have just been brought in, your Kinina Holo, I don't know how he's being made into that squad and where he's going to fit in, but he's going to get an opportunity. So, look, gone are the days of just rolling the same teams out. the whole squad's going to get an opportunity to play. The only question marks I have, and it's a positive for the Highlanders, is losing Andrew Makaleo. Like, Cody Taylor's going to play some big minutes. Brodie McAllister, he has been renowned to get injured a wee bit. So I think if they do have to go deep into their hookering squad, into the depth, they've got Shiloh Klein coming in. He's been playing for Canterbury. Can he go to that next level? That's probably the only question marks for me in that front row stocks. Other than that, same old, the machine will just keep rolling.
Well, Joey, there's 9 new players to this team and 5 of them are from the academy. So what does that say about the depth in the Crusaders?
Yeah, not bad, is it? Pretty good line that they've got going on there. They've been doing it for a long time. I think, talking about new players that are entering there, though, one guy that I'm interested in seeing how he goes, we've seen him a lot for the Argentinian side, is Pablo Bentera. I think, from a Crusaders perspective, I think probably in the last few years, especially last year, the loose forwards probably weren't as strong as what we've seen in the past when they've had the likes of Reid, McCaw, All Blacks galore. Maybe last year they lacked a little bit of that punch and physicality and the impact that we're used to seeing from the loose trio. So I think we're going to see a guy come into this team, add a lot. We've obviously seen through this All Black season the growth in Ethan Blackadder. He's now challenging real hard to cement that All Blacks number 6 jersey. So that's going to be a massive breakout year for him as well. And also Cullen Grace coming off a massive first season for him where he made the All Blacks on the back of that in 2020, but now then falling out of the squad this year. I think he's going to be looking for a massive season after a shoulder injury. So that's the area that I think the Crusaders have really loaded up on. You're right in terms of the depth. The factory just keeps pumping them out. I don't know if they've still got that depth in the front row though that we've seen in past times where they've been able to roll 2 All Black front rows on and off the field, a starting front row of All Blacks, then bring on another All Black front row. I think that's where they're lacking a little bit. But in terms of their locking stocks, for All Black locks in there that have been involved in the All Blacks environment, 2 uncapped, but 2 guys, obviously, or 3 guys that are world class. So, yeah, they're going to be formidable as always.
Exactly, the forward pack is already stocked up, and the backs, they're not shy from talent as well. And they've got the return of Jack Goodhue. And Izzy, you caught up with him earlier in the week, moon boot and all. Let's hear from Jack on his thoughts on the competition.
With Jack Goodhue, he's just coming back from a long-term injury, mate. Talk us through, how's the rehab been and where you at the moment?
Mate, it's going good, just set my goals every day, every week. At the moment, doing a bit of change of direction stuff, starting to build up the speed, plenty of upper body, you know me. Probably need to pull back on that, but no, it's going good.
You've got a pretty exciting midfield combination. You got yourself, you got David Havili, you got Braden Eno that can play there. You got Isaiah Punivai that's been playing well for Canterbury this year. Like, mate, the midfield stocks are outstanding. Are you looking forward to working with those players when they come back?
Mate, I am. Mate, there's a huge amount of talent, and it's going to be a hard team, a hard backline to pick. But we thrive off each other. We work hard together, and we just make each other better. So that's what's beautiful about having plenty of talent to select from.
Let's talk about Razor and his enthusiasm, and every year he comes with some different idea, some different point of view, purpose. Yeah, what is it about him that just makes him so unique and so special, mate?
Mate, who knows what he's going to bring next year, and that's exactly it. That's what makes him special. Outside the box, most people think in a straight line. He's can like this. So whatever he comes up with, it will be exciting. It will be refreshing, and for the guys that have been around for a bit longer, he's going to keep it making it interesting and fun. So so that's key to just keeping the energy there.
Well, mate, you've been in this environment for a while now. We've got a new competition. We've got the Super Rugby Pacifica competition, and we've got Moana Pacifica particularly, Fiji Taroa. What are your expectations of a side like Moana Pacifica?
Mate, they're going to have some quality players, and it's going to be a challenge, for both those teams to, build from the ground up, and it might take a few years, but I wouldn't be surprised if they upset a few of the more established teams in this competition.
what's something that we can look at and look for in your game that you've been able to master in this time off where you're rehabbing?
Oh, mate, if you chuck a wee bench press up there on the field, then
What are you benching?
Nah, mate, mate, get it quiet, mate. 150 at the moment, but you know, when there's ears, hopefully a bit more.
Well, there you go. That is Jack, the 150 kg bench presser, Goodhue. Watch this space. He's going to go good.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, excited to see Jack Goodhue back in action. Well, Izzy made it look all too easy doing the walk and talk in your moon boot. But next up, it's the new addition to the competition that'll be based out of Mount Smart Stadium. It's the Moana Pacifica team. Let's hear from Sir Brian Williams.
Aloha lava, maluelele, kia ora. I'm Brian Williams. I'm here to introduce Moana Pacifica. We're here at Mount Smart Stadium, and Moana Pacifica is going to be running out in 2022 in Super Rugby. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We want to take the people with us. The hearts and minds of our people are going to be so important, and the match day experience here, I think, is going to be very, very special. Come out and support us. We're going to make you proud. Woo!
Well, it's great to hear from a legend of the game. Now, Jeff, as you look at this side, there's plenty of new players that'll get their first chance at the experience of Super Rugby. What are your thoughts around this?
Absolutely, Taylor. Look, it's a nice story having this Moana Pacifica team involved in the competition. Finally, they've been calling for it for a very long time, and it's not just those new players that you've sort of alluded to. I think it's the experience that they've managed to get involved in the franchise. Sakopi Kepu, incredible story. I mean, a guy played for Counties, he captained the Wesley College first 15, went over, fashioned his career in Australia, played 110 test matches for the Wallabies, over 140 games for the Tars. So, you know, I think the important thing for them was not just, you know, bringing in a whole lot of new guys. You needed to have that experience, and you talk about experience in Christian Leofano, 26 test matches for the Wallabies. Be a heck of a night for him playing against a club he played 150 games for in Super Rugby in the Brumbies. So that's nice. What I do like is there's a theme of guys that have been playing a lot of rugby together in New Zealand. I like the halves combination, Eddie Anare and Lincoln McClutchy, of course, having played at Hawke's Bay this year. And then you look out the back, I mean, Neri Formai, Solomoni Kate, you know, was at the Brumbies. We know how good he was in rugby league. So it's littered with talent and guys that are hard workers. You know, look in the locks there, you got Mike McKee out of Southland, Vikoso Polinati from Manawatu as well. So Aaron Major's fashioned is what I think that's exciting. It's experienced. And yeah, it's got some new guys that are going to have a new taste of Super Rugby, but that's what you want. You want them to be excited and to rip in.
And Izzy, you know, you're a massive Hawke's Bay fan. We know that, and you were involved with a lot of the commentary this year. They snatched up Eriatara Anari and Lincoln McClutchy. What do you think that they will need to bring? Because that combination is strong in NPC, but we're going up another level, Super Rugby. What do you think that they'll need to bring?
And that's the question marks. That's the question marks here. With Lincoln McClutchy hasn't been tested at that next level. I think he's got the ability to play at that next level and go extremely well. I think the added connection with Christian Leofano in there, I think off the fields where he's going to have his biggest impact, his ability to share his insights, share his experience, because things aren't going to go great. And these players are young; they don't know how do they get through it. So Christian Leofano being that shoulder to tap on, just keep tipping away, especially for Lincoln McClutchy. I think Eriatara, his move to Hawke's Bay just redefined his career. I think him being in Canterbury, he just never really got an opportunity to really showcase who he is and how he is as a player. And him going to Hawke's Bay, and they play a freestyle kind of freedom, kind of open, expansive, unpredictable style of rugby, and I think that really suited him. I think Moana Pacific are going to really upset a few teams. They are going to push a lot of teams right to the edge, and they're going to surprise a few teams, I feel. I had question marks over their set piece. I thought set piece in this competition, we know how hugely important it is, having a strong line out, having a strong scrum. I think they will have a strong scrum. Seeing that front row, they've got Isi Tuanga Fasti in there too, Sakopi Kefu, Joe Api Katoa. He was outstanding for Hawke's Bay as well. I think the front row will be solid. My only question marks, Joey, and you'll probably be able to touch on this a bit more, is probably the locking department. There's probably, I don't know how to say it, it's probably not knowing names there, but hey, they could be throwing up some surprises with there. What's your thoughts on the locking department, bud?
Yeah, I agree, Dagger. I think the type 5 for me is the biggest question mark from this side. They've obviously recruited some world-class guys, but like you alluded to with the Crusaders side, you've got to go pretty deep in your squad. Once you get past that top-tier player for this Moana Pacifica side, they're pretty thin. And you alluded to the locking stocks. Yeah, Mike McKee's played quite a bit of provincial rugby, but like to be honest, yeah, they're probably lacking a little bit of experience in that. We said that they might surprise some teams. I don't know if they're going to surprise any New Zealand teams. I don't think they'll come awfully close to any New Zealand teams. I think the Australian sides, though, they're a real chance against some of those teams. I like that combination of Eddie and Lincoln. I think that's going to be massive. And you alluded to that, to the experience of Christian, that getting around Lincoln, he's just going to add to this kid's game and keep growing him. The other guy that I'm really excited to see go around at Super Rugby is Levi Moore, who's been at the Mako for a few years. He's come back from Japan this year and he is looking fit. He is a big lad. He can carry the ball, makes game line, normally bumps off at least one or two players. They're going to have some real game breakers across the park. But yeah, my biggest worry, Digger, set piece. We know how important that is in this competition, and against the New Zealand sides, I think they're going to really, really struggle. So they're going to have to hope that they can keep everyone on the field so that they give themselves the best chance. Because other than that top 8, yeah, they're pretty lacking in terms of depth in their forward pack.
Well, there's so much to look forward to, another opportunity for players to put their hand up. Let's hear from Taylor Johnson now as she catches up with one of their most experienced signings.
Malolava Taylor, thank you very much. Now, I'm here at Mount Smart Stadium and it's usually a league ground, but not next year. This will be the home ground for Moana Pacifica. And I'm joined by one of our marquee players, Sekopi Kepu. How important is it for you to play for this team and your family?
Yeah, look, it's, representing our Pacific people is one thing for me is a massive, I guess, hurdle that we've overcome, and the opportunity to play in this Super Rugby Pacific is great for everybody here, and being based in here in Auckland, one of the biggest Pacific Island cities in the world, it's pretty special. And moving back, I never thought that I'd get this opportunity, but my family and I are very privileged to be a part of this.
What can we expect from a side like this?
Yeah, look, a lot of flair, a lot of raw talent. There's a lot of young guys coming through, and I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table. And it's one of the best competitions in the world, Super Rugby. So speed, power, and it's just putting that all together.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how they make an impact in the competition. Let's now head to the deep south with the Highlanders. It's Tony Brown.
Hi guys, Tony Brown from the Highlanders here. Can't wait for the 2022 Super Rugby season to get underway. Looking forward to getting back to Forsyth Bar Stadium, playing some good Highlanders footy, throwing the ball around, scoring some tries. Really excited to get our team back together, get our injured players back on deck. Looking forward to getting our new players involved, and especially our experienced players coming back in, Marty Banks, Gareth Evans, Makaleo. So it's going to be an exciting year. Get on board.
Well, I know, Joey, you'll probably have plenty to say, but we'll start with Izzy first. Now, straight away, who stands out is the loss of Josh Ioane. Now, what does that mean for the Highlanders now? I know Mitch Hunt, he had a great run during it last year with them as well as this year's NPC, but what does he need to bring?
Well, he's just got to keep doing what he did last year. I know they were sharing the role. He was going to play a little bit at fullback. Josh Ioane was playing at 10. I don't know what kind of line they're going to go down, similar kind of scenario, but I don't think they will with Solomon Alamolo playing extremely well. Just getting some game time for Southland. He was their big major signing for them last year. Obviously, he had some things happening off the field and didn't really get the opportunities to be able to showcase what he's about. Hopefully, he can come back, has an outstanding preseason, gets another opportunity, gets real fit. He'll be starting fullback, so it's a battle between Mitchell Hunt and the wonder boy, Marty Banks, making a return. Look, the thing with the Highlanders, they just fly under the radar every single year, and no one really takes them seriously. And then they come out and they surprise a lot of teams. They don't get the respect that they deserve, particularly right up the front. And Joey, you'd know this. You use that as fuel. You use that as fuel, especially when you're playing sides like the Crusaders, who have got all their All Black star players. You know, you think of a Josh Dixon who's sitting in there. You know, he's been around a while, just a real trooper. And then he's faced against a Crusaders side with, you know, Sammy Whitelock. He goes to play the Chiefs with Brodie Retallick. You know, is that the mentality that you guys have? You are the underdogs every single year, but you use it as fuel. Am I right?
Yeah, mate, 100%. We're just pirates from all over the country, all over the world, in fact. Just looking for an opportunity to prove people wrong, because the reality is we weren't good enough. A lot of us that have come down here for a rugby opportunity, we weren't good enough to crack it at our home, I suppose, clubs or franchises. So you come down here for a rugby opportunity, and a lot of guys take it with both hands. There's so many examples over the years of guys doing that. The great thing about this side that we've always had is, especially probably in the last 5 years, and you say we surprise teams, but there's a lot of belief in this squad, but that comes from being really well prepared, really well coached. So I think obviously in Tony Brown and Clark Dermody, you got two world-class coaches that wouldn't look out, well, obviously Brownie's involved in the Japanese side, but Clark wouldn't look out of place in an international setup. And I think the key for the Highlanders last year, they were really up and down during Super Rugby Aotearoa. One of their great performances against the Crusaders up in Christchurch, to tip them up and do it handsomely, but then the next week their consistency just fell away. And I think that was probably due to a few things. I think consistency of selection was the big one last year. So they fixed that during Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, and then they saw some really good results week in, week out. So I think if we see that this year with Brownie and Dooms' selection, if they keep it consistent with their selection, this team, it just needs time in the saddle, and it just gets better and better and better. Obviously, playing under the roof, it makes a huge difference. You love to play a high-tempo brand. Obviously, teams come down and try to play that, but we know that we're the best team in New Zealand at doing that, and we know how to control those conditions. So that's always a bonus, having half your games under the roof where you can play in perfect conditions. A couple of losses, though, Jeff, for me this year that are going to be massive for the Highlanders. In the early part of the season, Billy Harmon, who was probably one of the Highlanders' best, if not the best, on show last season, and the impressive Puddy Parkinson, who's gone for the year. Those two guys in that forward pack lose a lot of experience and a lot of physical edge.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, and that's going to be the question. How do they respond to that adversity? And Puddy Parkinson, you know, was in great nick. He's out for the season. Ash Dixon, obviously, off to Japan, and they lose a lot there too. Josh Ioane heads to the Chiefs. But, you know, I think you guys have sort of mentioned that I think a big part of the Highlanders' success is going to depend on, you know, I think one of their X factors is their coach, Tony Brown. You know, he's an astute tactician. He's been a big part of the reason that there's been a resurgence with that rugby club over the last few years. So that's massive. You look at a guy like Gareth Evans wants to come back from the Hurricanes to play, join his brother, and another guy I think that could have could make an impact this season. He was ruled out in the preseason last year for Tuli Paia with an ankle injury. He's a big boy and he runs hard lines in the midfield, and I think. We talk about the Type 5, we talked about it all through this show and how important that's going to be, but I think a real weapon, obviously, for the Landers this year will be, again, having two absolutely world-class halfbacks at their disposal. Falau hopefully gets through a full season, Falau Fakatava. And Marty, I think, obviously they've lost a class guy in Josh who has hit his straps big time in the NPC this year, and Clayton McMillan's got a great pick up there, and I think the Chiefs environment will be good for him. But Marty comes in, he's worldly. I mean, he's played everywhere. He's played in Russia. He's played all over the shop. So he comes back into an environment he knows, and we know he's a clutch player. And I think you put a guy like Marty Banks, who looks solid for Southland this year. You put him outside Aaron Smith, and I think things could happen for that Highlanders team. So a healthy competition with Mitch, of course, but I like it. It's just going to be how they start and whether they can stick to their guns.
Well, Joey, you couldn't pass up the opportunity to go catch up with your old mate, Marty Banks. So let's hear from the man himself.
Banksy, good to see you.
Joey boy.
You're looking sharp.
Oh, there's ever boy.
Hey, Gavian. Marty's back, and he's back again for, is it the third time round, the third return of Marty Banks to the Landers?
It's like a fine wine, mate. It gets better with age. I keep coming back.
Was it an easy decision?
It was, especially when like I've said in the past, I always wanted to get back and play for Tassie and play 50 games and get a blazer. It's been picking the back of my brain for years, and I'm probably not going to get to do that. But the other side of that is playing 50 games for the Landers, and like I was saying, I watched Nuggie and Bender, get presented their stuff at the end of the game and in front of the family and stuff. And I think something like that would be pretty cool to be able to look back and say, I played 50 games for the Landers. And I love the Unners, mate. Like it's got a special place in my heart, and obviously no good for me tan because it'll never get me top off. But yeah, mate, I'm stoked to get back, and I'm looking forward to. Obviously the scenery might have changed a little bit with the team and that, but I just love the Highlanders brand and the Highlanders the setup.
You obviously want to push for a starting jersey. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, mate, I'd love to start, but obviously I know Mitch. He's he's got small hands, but he's probably got a decent sized hand on the jersey. But I'll turn up, whether it's playing each week, whether it's in the stands, whether it's driving the DDs. My role will probably change week to week, but I just want to go back. These young guys coming in the team that, I've been young, I've probably learned a few lessons over the years because I'm getting a bit long in the tooth now, Joey. So, if I can help even just one person in our environment over the next year or two, I'll feel like I've achieved what I needed to.
The Highlanders squad for 2022, who are you excited about in terms of the new faces, the new crop that are coming through?
Yeah, well, the young seven for Otago, Withy?
Withy, yeah, Sean Withy.
Yeah, Sean Withy. Yeah, he looks talented as, and he's actually probably a better looking version than to Jimmy Lynch's. So better bloke too, I heard, from down Southland. So, I'm sure Jimmy will get him under his wing and look after him.
Well, thankfully this time round when you come into Dunners, you're not going to be staying with Courtney and I, and you and Michelle have bought a property down in Dunedin. So I wish you all the best for the season, Banksy. As you know, I'll be barking for you from all angles, and I'm sure the team will do a job as well. But thanks for having me down in Invercargill, and look forward to seeing your scrawny little figure running around the Logan Park in pre-season. Bet you're looking forward to that.
To Simon Jones, I'm sure he's looking forward to getting his hands on me to be fair. And next time we make a time, mate, just be on time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sure the Highlander fans will be thrilled to have him back in the mix. Now let's hear from Trans-Tasman champions from last year, the Blues. It's the recent captain, Tom Robinson.
Kia ora guys, Tom Robinson here from the Blues, visiting for the upcoming season. Looking forward to getting back with the boys, putting in some hard work, getting out in front of the fans at the Garden of Eden, or if we haven't relocated by then, somewhere else. Also looking forward to having our first home game up north, up in Whangarei. It's going to be unreal. A couple of big signings. You probably heard of the biggest one of them all by now, a big Tamati tour from the Mighty Tunnies out of Karaia College. Yeah, it's going to be a doozy.
Well, there are going to be two massive talking points, I'm sure, but straight away it's one captain to the other. It's the former Warriors captain, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He's straight into the mix. Now, Jeff, he was going to be getting his 15s, game back in with the NPC Auckland, but of course COVID hit. Now he's going to be ready to debut for the Blues. What do you make?
I can't wait. I think that it's a real shame he couldn't make his debut for Auckland this year because of obviously the COVID situation in the city. But mate, you pair him with Beauden Barrett, and things are going to happen for that Blues side. He was a star at schoolboys level, playing rugby. He went over and fashioned such a great career in rugby league, Dally M winner. He is going to be class, and when you put him outside a two-time World Player of the Year. And Beauden Barrett, and then Caleb Clark, guys like that on the end of the chain. You've lost players like Paddy Tuipulotu to overseas and whatnot, and they will be a bit light. And I'm sure Joey will talk about that in the tight five, especially in the locks with Gerard as well heading off. But no, it's going to be crazy good season, I think, for RTS and the Blues.
And Joey, what do you make of that 4-pack?
Oh, it's impressive, and what a squad Leon McDonald and his selectors have assembled. I think in terms of their propping stocks, I think they've got the most depth out of any team. They've got 4 All Black props, past or present, to call on, plus some other handy guys. Jeff alluded to the locking stocks. Obviously, they've lost a couple of real key guys there, but they filled the void with a pretty experienced ex-All Black in itself, Luke Romano, unbelievably leaving his home team, the Crusaders, and heading up to Auckland. I would never have thought a man who every spare minute of his day is spent hunting. I don't know how many pigs are on the Bombays, but I'm sure that guy will find them and sniff them out if they are around. One guy that I'm looking forward to playing alongside RTS is Caleb Clark. It feels like we haven't seen that guy play rugby in about, 18 months or something ridiculous like that. So I just can't wait to see him, because I reckon he will be an absolute beast this season. He will be that hungry, Dagger. You love those outside backs, mate. You would have been loving feeding the ball to either him or Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wing if you had the opportunity.
That's the thing. Like, you got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, you've got Zahn Sullivan, who was one of the form fullbacks in last year's competition. So for me, it's where does Roger play? Where do we play Roger? Because I feel Zahn Sullivan has to play. So for me, I'd probably play Roger on the wing. He takes up one wing position. You got Caleb Clark, who went and played at the New Zealand 7, chasing a dream, chasing a medal. Obviously, that didn't happen. Wasn't selected, went over as a travelling reserve. So he gave up his All Blacks jersey after having an outstanding season. So for him, he's got to have a huge pre-season, build on his form from 2 years ago, try and reinvigorate his form or try and find his form. And then he's up against another guy like Mark Tellier. Mark Tellier last year was outstanding for the Blues too. Took all his opportunities, unbelievable try scorer, can create things out of nothing. You've got Bryce Heem, who came back from the UK. He was very good. So they've got stocks galore. They've got too many players that can fit into 3 jerseys. So they're going to have a few problems. Yes, Luke Romano, he has gone there. I never in my wildest dreams would ever thought that Luke Romano would be playing for the Blues. Where does he go hunting? You're right, Joey. He's going to be wearing red bands in town. He won't be going clubbing or anything like that. So that's the big question. So I'm really excited, looking forward to Anton Segner, mate. You'd know a lot about him, a young Tasman kid. He's another one that Leon McDonald just went and got and found. So I'm really excited to see how he goes in the big smoke. Can he go to that next level? Seen glimpses of him for Tasman. Haven't probably seen enough to really be convinced, but really looking forward to seeing what he can do after a big pre-season with the Blues and hopefully get some game time.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dagger, you missed one guy, Stephen Perofeta. He was outstanding for Taranaki. And the other thing you missed is they are doing the salary cap cheating better than the Crusaders, mate. They're the only other team that can do it better than you. So well done. Hats off to you.
Nice one, Joey. Nice one.
Third party, mate. Third party. Get an apartment in Newmarket. That's what they offer.
Well, the Blues a lot of the players have been doing it tough, training in lockdown. So let's hear from Caleb Clark.
People always talk about Auckland being like such a big place. It's one of the busiest places in New Zealand. Traffic's really bad, but when you've got such a big region but a tight-knit group like this, I think everyone knows that competitive drive, everyone has that competitive edge, but at the same time they want to help everyone else get better. Eden Park is such a cool place, especially when you get people there. I can think back to after the first lockdown last year, just how much rugby means to everyone, and seeing a crowded house. I think that's the most exciting thing, and it's just such a vibe when you're playing, like having everyone there, having your family there, having the crowd just cheering, just really shows how much rugby means to everyone.
Other than yourself, who do you reckon is the biggest weapon in this team?
Oh, we signed him this year, Roger. I've already been stepped by him heaps of times, social distancing.
2 new teams in a whole new competition format. What are you most looking forward to?
Well, firstly, hopefully, we can play against the Aussie teams. That's going to be exciting. We always know that there's going to be good clash against Aussie, but just seeing the 2 Pacific Island teams is just showing how much of a big thing Pacific Islanders have in rugby. I know that's going to bring a whole new dynamic with the Drua team. They're Fijians, they're big, fast, strong, they can offload, and then Moana Pacific, they're just boys that we know, that we all grew up with, and so I think it's awesome that we get a chance to really play against each other. So, yeah.
Can't wait to see Caleb back on the 15s field. Let's jump straight into it. It's the Hurricanes. Now, Jeff, looking at the squad at a first glance, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's exciting, mate. I think they've got a real coup getting TJ back in the mix there from Japan. I think a lot will depend on their young sort of 5'8" utility fullback options, Ruben Love, Aidan Morgan there. But a real, I think, key signing for me, obviously they lost Vince Aso and Nani Lumapi to Europe and Japan respectively, but Taurangi Walden, he's been around the block. He's played at the Highlanders. He's had a great season at Taranaki. And as you will know this, Joe, they're not just getting a guy there that is a skillful midfield player. He's a leader. He's well respected, and I think when you inject someone like that into to a group like the Hurricanes, you add another leader in there. I think it's going to really help those young guys out and steer them around the paddock this year.
Yeah, I've been impressed with his leadership ability, especially this year with Taranaki. He's taken the captain's armband there, and it seemed to have got the best out of him in terms of a player. I think last year he was disappointed. He got let go by the Highlanders and then had a devastating Achilles injury, which ruled him out of Super Rugby anyway. So there's going to be a real scrap-on for that number 12 jersey between himself and probably Billy Proctor, I think, jostling it out because Nani Lamapa had a mortgage on that jersey for a while there. So, yeah, it's going to be cool to see the pairing that they go with for that Hurricanes side. One guy that I really like, and I think he's going to have a breakout year for this Hurricanes side, is Devin Flanders, and you'd know him really well, Digger, out of Hawke's Bay. I think he's just gone from strength to strength this year with regular time in that number 8 jersey. I'd love to see them put Adi Savia. We've seen him sort of play obviously quite a bit at 8 for the All Blacks, but for me, I still think his best position is at 7, and I know that that's where he wants to play. Devin Flanders just seems to be getting better and better. Is that how you see it as well, mate?
Yeah, Devon Flanders, he's had an outstanding season for Hawke's Bay, and not only this year, just previous years as well. He's been very, very good. I know the All Blacks have been pretty keen on him and been very impressed with what he's been able to do. Has he gone and had a consistent Super Rugby season? I think you're right, mate. You're on the button there. Like this season, he's going to have an outstanding preseason. He's going to get fit. He's going to build into that position. You got Artie playing 7. So where does that leave 6? You got Duplessis, Karifi, he's a 7. Does he move to 6? Does Reed Prinsep go to 6 and cement that spot? I think Devin Flanders will play 8. Artie will play 7. So it's the position at 6 that's probably the big talking point in this. Where do they go with that? Another player for me, Joe, that I can't wait to see, and I hope he gets a lot of game time, is Salesi Reasi. We saw how devastating he was last year. Ball in hand, can just score tries, can go missing when the game gets tough for me. So hopefully he can build on that throughout the pre-season, get a position on the outside backs. Geordie Barrett will be fullback, so it'll be on the wing somewhere, maybe left or right, wherever West goes. Him and West will be the wingers. And then you spoke about it. They've got a young guy, Balin Sullivan, who's just come from the Chiefs, who I think has had an outstanding season for the Waikato team NPC side at centre. He's been very physical. He's been awesome on D. He's quick on attack. So they've got options galore at centre. Peter Umanga Jensen, Balin Sullivan, Billy Proctor. They're going to have to make a decision. Big shoes to fill within that. For another thing that lacked last year that I want to just keep touching on is probably attack. I don't think they've got any problems with attack. I think their attack and their ability to score tries and score tries out of nothing is the Hurricanes rugby. Where they were probably let them down last year, and especially in the earliest parts of the season, was the defence. They leaked a few tries, particularly on the edge, and I know Corey Jane is their defensive coach, and I'm not having a dig at him. I just think it was probably more individually that the players were missing tackles. They were pretty passive on defence. Hurricanes were the team that were the first ones to bring line speed, bring heat on the defence. They probably went away from it early stages last year, saw glimpses towards the end of the season. I think if they can get defensive back to what they're about, they'll go a long way to having a successful season. I'm rambling on there, you know what I mean. It's been a long day.
Well, plenty of exciting signings that you've all touched on. And Joey, you went and caught up with their newest midfielder, Te Horangi Walden. Let's hear from him.
Kia ora, Taser. Great to have you join us, mate, ahead of what's going to be an awesome Super Rugby Pacific. For you, Bud, obviously 4 seasons at the Highlanders, moving up to a new team in the capital, the Hurricanes. How's that sitting with you, Bud?
Yeah, kia ora, Joey. Pumped about the opportunity, to be honest. When I got the phone call from Alfie a few weeks back, I was excited straight away. Obviously enjoyed my time down south at the Highlanders. They're a great team, but another opportunity's popped up, and really looking forward to getting down there, getting stuck in with the boys in a month's time.
Hey, Nani Lomape leaving the Canes. Brilliant opportunity for you, obviously coming into this squad to try and nail down that number 12 jersey. What do you have to do to get the first crack at it over pre-season, mate?
Yeah, Nani, he's been sort of one of the best midfielders in New Zealand rugby for a few years now, and he's going to be a big loss for the Hurricanes. He's done a lot for the club. But like you said, it provides an opportunity for someone else, and the Hurricanes have got some exciting talent in the midfield. So someone else is going to have to put their hand up. And you know what it's like in Super Rugby. Pre-season is a great leveller. You just got to turn up in decent nick and just put my best foot forward, I guess. But any opportunities that come my way, I'll be grateful for. But I know it's going to be a lot of hard work, and just joining a new team is always tough too. So looking forward to getting around the boys and getting on the rugby field, I guess.
Next year, just off the top of my head, I think you've got 3 guys that were in the New Zealand under-20s. Hayden Morgan, TK Howden, and Ruben Love. They've been featuring pretty heavily during the NPC. What have you liked about those 3 young roosters?
Yeah, 100%, Joey. They're pretty exciting to watch. I followed the rugby last year, obviously, and seeing Ruben Love at 10 was pretty awesome to see him step up to the occasion. Just a young fella, but he's so much excitement in his game. And the other boys as well. I played some NPC against them, and been really impressed with how they're going. So I'm sure they've got plenty to work towards for next year. And it's a great mix between youth and experience, like I said.
You went through a similar pathway, straight out of 20s, pretty much straight into the Highlanders environment. What did you find was tough about that transition from sort of age group footy into the full-time professional ranks of Super Rugby? Anything challenging that these guys might struggle a little bit with?
Yeah, I guess it's always quite daunting going into a professional environment as a young fella. I remember my first day at the Highlanders, and not many people knew what my name was or anything. So it was sort of a new start for me, and I guess I just had to. It took me a while to sort of be myself, but getting to try on the training field and making sure I work hard to try and earn the respect of my teammates firstly. But forever grateful to the Highlanders for my first opportunity to play at that level. So I guess, you just got to be yourself and find out what makes you tick, and then just be yourself and put your best foot forward, and that's all you can ask for, I guess.
All right, Taser, great to catch up, but as always, you're looking good, as you would be the lucky man in the yellow and black, but I wish you all the best for the season, and the new wrecking ball, Te Orangi Warden. Good on you, mate.
Might have to get in the gym. Cheers, Joey. Appreciate it, bro.
Well, it'll be good to see him in the yellow and black, but at the super level, he'll definitely be one to watch. Let's get straight into the Chiefs now. Jeff, we mentioned Josh Ioane leaving. He's with the Chiefs now, and wouldn't that be a great pickup after the news of Damien McKenzie heading offshore?
It is. It is a great pickup for them, and timely too that he's in such good form. I'm sure Joey can speak to this a little bit. He obviously, he made the All Blacks out of the franchise down south, but then perhaps the last season with the Highlanders, for whatever reason, just wasn't quite clicking. And as Stagger said as well, switching around Mitch, and is he playing fullback? Is he playing in the midfield? Is he playing 10? So I think going somewhere like that, and Clayton going, this is your 10, you're our 10, and you're playing outside an All Black and Brad Weber, I think, as Stagger said, it's going to bring the best out of him. So no, I'm really excited for the Chiefs. They've got, some key guys coming back. Obviously, Brody Retallick. They're blessed at lock at the moment with some young locks and Josh Lord and Tupu Vai as well. But I think it's going to be great for Josh Ioane, and it'll help the Chiefs to, I think, will be a pretty special year.
And Joey, what kind of combination do you think that he can form with the likes of Brad Weber and Xavier Rowe and Quintu Pai on the outside? What kind of impact and combination do you think he'll bring?
Oh, look, we all know that Josh Ioane, when he's at his best, he's right up there as one of our best 10s in the country. There's no doubt about that. And I think probably last year Jeff alluded to it, I think sort of the chopping and changing of his position. Was he at 15? Was he at 10? Mitch Hunt was playing so well, it was hard to fit them both in. And that probably played a part in maybe a little bit of his struggles that were his off-field issues that he was having. And probably, sometimes they say change is as good as a holiday. And sometimes guys need a fresh up and, a refreshing environment to get the best out of themselves. And I think we've seen this season, especially towards the tail end of this NPC, how good Josh Ioane can be. And when he's playing well, the teams around him go so well. He plays so flat on the line. He's got brilliant feet. And his goal kicking this season in the NPC has been absolutely world class. I think he's in the late 80%. So, yeah, he's doing a great job there. The one that I'm looking forward to the most seeing back in this Chiefs side, though, is the Guzzler. We know that he's a world-class operator, World Player of the Year. It's just so good to see that guy back in New Zealand footy for the All Blacks, but I'm just looking forward to seeing him at Super Rugby level. He's going to form a mouth-watering combination in that second row with Tupu Vaya, and I think this guy is just going from strength to strength. We've seen it every test match that he's played for the All Blacks. He just keeps getting better and better. Another Super Rugby season under his belt, and he is going to be knocking on that All Blacks door for regular game time. And then obviously Josh Lord as well, a fantastic young talent. But the Guzzler being back, he's going to be massive for this Chiefs side. And, he's just wears his heart on his sleeve. He plays so tough. Whatever team he's playing for, Dagger, he just loves rolling up his sleeves and being the niggle king and in the thick of everything.
Yeah, he's outstanding, mate. I actually had it down. I was keen to see that combination with Fratellic and a kid, Josh Lord, who's just absolutely come out of nowhere. And now, he was just flying under the radar. Now he's in the All Blacks. People are going to have eyes on him. People are going to be watching him with interest leading into this season. So for me, if he gets a combination going, and it kind of reminds me of the times when the Chiefs were going extremely well. They had Craig Clark in there with the Guzzler, two uncompromising locks that took no rubbish. So if Josh Lord can form that kind of rugged edge, which I've heard whispers of from Taranaki, comes from a farm, gets into the mahi, doesn't really love the flashy things. If he can get those connections with the Guzzler going, I think they'll go outstanding. My only question marks are Damian McKenzie. He's such a huge loss, and we know how influential he is in a Chiefs jersey. Is he going to be a huge loss? We know how much he creates within their team. So there's going to be just so much pressure on a young Josh Ioane, who you spoke about it, Jeff. He's had an outstanding season. He is going to play 10. Question marks, who's going to play 15? And can they have the sort of impact on the game that Damian McKenzie was able to have? I'm looking Chase Tiatia. Yes, he's got the uncompromising unpredictability about him, but when the pressure's on, can he withstand that? Sean Stevenson, yes, seen glimpses of it. Seen glimpses of it throughout North Harbour days when they were playing. We haven't seen them for a very long time, but I've seen them in the Chiefs jersey. So I've seen glimpses of it. But that's the big question mark. Damian McKenzie's influential ability to break open a game. Can these players that are in the squad now, filling those boots, can they step up? So that's the only question marks for me.
Well, there's heaps to keep in mind there. They did have an outstanding season last year. Can they build on that this year? Questions will be asked and answers have to be found out very soon. But let's hear from one of their newest members from the Chiefs. It's Josh Ioane.
Yes, just like Taylor said, we're joined by the one and only Josh Ioane, absolute superstar, doing good things for Otago, but now he's going to the Chiefs. Mana, are you excited about the challenges that await you at the Chiefs and moving home closer to the family?
My mindset up there just to go up there and just compete. The young Rivers, Trusky, Gatlin, so my mindset going up there is just to compete.
Oh, mate, well, we know that wallet will be nice and healthy after that move, mate. You're taking Damian McKenzie's contract, so let's be honest. Are you on the same? You on the same or what?
Nah, not even a quarter, mate. Not even a quarter.
Oh, don't lie, mate. Don't lie. Hey, let's talk about the Chiefs. What excites you most about joining the Chiefs outfit? A team that's had a lot of history. They've had a lot of success.
One thing that I've heard, before I decided to even go to the Chiefs, that about the Chiefs was their culture, and that was a huge deciding factor going up there. And then, playing with a few of the boys with the Māoris, and with the coaching staff, under the coaching staff, Rog Randall, and then obviously Clayton, and then playing with the boys of the Māoris, I could definitely see a little bit of that culture there, and I think that's the most thing I'm excited for.
What about this new competition, man? We've got a few new teams coming through. Moana Pacifica, I think they've signed a few outstanding signings over the last couple of weeks. Fiji Drua. Does the new competition excite you, mate? And do you think these teams like Moana Pacific can actually surprise a few outfits?
Bro, 100%. I'm excited for this comp. We've got 15 rounds, one bye. So it's quite a hectic comp.
Yeah.
And like you said, those new teams coming in, Fiji, we know what they can do. Unreal. And then Moana, holy. Their signings from the Mighty 10 Cup have been unreal, so
yeah,
I definitely think they're going to do well. And look, it's going to be fire, I reckon.
Mean, I love it, bro. Oh, there you go. That's Joshuani. Back to you, Taylor.
Well, good to hear from the new Chiefs member. But before we go, I've got to hear the picks, guys. Joey, we'll start with you. Who do you think is going to take out the competition and who against?
Well, thanks for asking, Taylor. There's obviously only one team in it for me. It is Flanders. They're going to get it done. They're not going to come up short like they did last year in Super Rugby Trans-Tasman against the Blues, but they are going to meet the Blues in the final. That's my pick. Blues Highlanders final, a repeat of last year's Trans-Tasman final up in Auckland, but this time the Landers get the job done.
I suppose you got Ethan. I suppose you got Ethan de Groot as top try scorer too, mate. Anyway, that's good.
I'll tell you what will happen. Marty Banks will come on and he'll drop a goal. It'll just be like a repeat of the 2015.
And Izzy, what about you with your picks?
Oh, well, I've gone Crusaders to win the title, and they're going to be facing the Blues at home in Christchurch, and they're going to win convincingly. There you go.
Who's your top try scorer?
And my top try scorer is the one and only Will Jordan.
Oh.
What about you, Jeff?
What about you?
Look, I reckon the Highlanders will go through the season undefeated. First time it's happened for the club and win their second title. They'll thrash the Crusaders. No, they won't. I don't think that'll happen. But look, I hope they make the top 8. I think they'll do that at least, and then who knows from there? Knockout footy. I think it'll be the Blues. They can field 8 or 9 All Blacks in their starting 15 at any given time, and obviously Rogers. Then they're super excited to see how he plays. I think they'll play the Crusaders in the final, get the job done, and I agree with you. I think Will Jordan is just scoring tries for fun, so I think he'll do it again. And Joey's not impressed.
Boring, Jeff. Boring.
It's what the people want, Joey.
I think we've all gone a little bit biased. I've gone with Crusaders as well, taking out, but they're going to go against Moana Pacifica for me because I want to just see something different versatility out there. But guys, if you couldn't be biased, who else would you choose to take it out? You're clearly all on the payroll.
Look. Well, you got to agree with Izzy and Jeff in terms of the firepower that those two teams have got. The Crusaders and Blues, on paper, they are just stacked with talent. So it's gonna, I think if you're looking purely on paper, and if you're going to have a punt with your head, you're probably going to go one of those two teams. But I'll tell you, you're probably going to get some better odds if you're betting with your heart,
Joey's going with the $8 on the Highlanders, the $8 or $9. Chuck that in the multi.
I love those juicy odds. I love those. Look, to be honest, the last thing I want to see happen, and I seen it when I was in Auckland and the Blues celebrating after they won the Trans-Tasman. I do not want to see that after them winning this Pacific title. So I don't want them to win. I'm going to go to Land.
How many times from your Crusaders? Everyone in the country's had a guts full of that.
No, but we're one day and done. I seen Harry Plummer a week later in town still going, mate. So, one day, move on.
It shows what it means to them, mate. It's not a fait accompli like you blokes in Christchurch think it is.
And they didn't even play the Crusaders. That's not a title. Anyway, move on.
There's plenty to look forward to. Only time will tell. A new competition, the Super Rugby Pacific. So, anyone's hands are up. So that's all from us. Thank you for joining. I hope you're just as excited as us for the season to kick off. We'll see you then.
Up the Landers!
Go Landers!